All right, here's your test, RJ.
Oh, fuck.
You were committing it to memory in the last time I talked.
Yeah, I was also dying last time we talked and barely made it. So, fuck.
I don't know why this brings me so much joy. Your
It should,
lack
dude.
of
It's
your
crazy.
your lack of give a shit should not.
It's not that I don't give a shit. It's just like I don't think like I retain things in any capacity anymore. Like it's so bizarre. Like especially like short term things like that.
All right, what does Doctor Octopus do in Magic? What's the Magic card do? You
Oh
remember
god, there's
things that you care about.
no, I do know there's like 5 different Doctor Octopus cards because Magic is a fucking shithole now.
Oh, now? You jumped the shark a while ago, buddy.
I mean, at least they were doing in-universe stuff before, and now it's like...
Yes. So I changed the assignment to what Magic cards are you excited to?
Yeah, I excel on that.
Yeah, I know.
I'll fucking crush that shit.
Do you remember? Okay, well, you're not going to remember, which is fun. One day it's going to happen. I'm going to be so shocked. I'm going to
I
be
remembered one of the times recently. I just can't remember what time it was.
Classic RJ. So today we're going to solve a death. I'm worried. Isn't that fun? Don't you love solving death?
I do. You let me know when it's happened. Once we've actually solved it.
We've solved so many. I don't know what you're talking about.
Totally.
This one here is we're going to Norway in the 1970s. This lady was found burnt in the wilderness in Norway's Isdalen Valley. Sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. I was just saying, it just sounds like a dumb way to say island.
Isdalen. I don't know how to do a Norwegian accent. I love it though. It's fun. It's like bouncy. Going to go to the movies.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good.
Yeah. So her body was found in the Isdalen Valley. Isdalen translates to Ice Valley. Because the name Ice Valley, the name given to this Jane Doe is the Isdal woman, because they don't know who she is. Isdalen also has another nickname, which is Dodsdalen, which translates to Death Valley, which pretty ominous, huh? It kind of suits this more. So the mystery today is actually twofold. It's who is the Isdal woman and why did she die?
An elite team of private detectives.
What if balloons are aliens? Maybe that's the key component we're missing.
Cover-ups.
John's guilty.
Mysteries that need to be solved.
Maybe Mormons need mountains.
Richard, shut up.
You got this, I think. You could do this, RJ. You could already have this solved, I'm sure.
How do you even spell Isdalen?
Isdalen.
Isdalen. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a handsome woman.
Well, a lot of people think she was a spy. She murdered in service of her country after being caught. Or other people say she's just some sad lady who committed suicide with sleeping pills and carbon monoxide. So let's see what they think. So on the morning of November 29th, 1970, a man and his 12 and 10-year-old daughters were on a hike in the Isdalen Valley in Norway. Now, I've seen this guy described, no one says his name ever. He's just called Professor. The professor and his 2 daughters. And I think that's on purpose because I think the 2 girls are still alive to this day and they don't like to talk about what they found in Ice Valley, still in their 50s or 60s.
Who could imagine?
Yeah, you'll see what they find too. So yeah, they probably don't want to. So the family, the professor and his daughters, had spent the previous hour or so hiking from the southwest coastal city of Bergen into the Ice Valley. Bergen, Norway is the second largest city in Norway, and it's just under 250,000 people. 209,000 people lived there in 1970, so it's a pretty big city. It is a big city. So Bergen is known as the gateway to the fjords because it's bordered by 7 mountains and 2 major fjords. This hike from Bergen I bet you it's beautiful, but it's a hard one. You're out in the nice hilly woods, but the hiking trails are steep and the trail system is pretty unkept. So the professor and the daughters have been hiking for about an hour, let's say, an hour and a half. Like I said, it's a 3-hour round trip to go from there and back. So that's pretty fucking far. 1.3 miles with little kids seems crazy to me. This 10-year-old and his 12-year-old just hiking through thick fucking Death Valley. And it's a lot. Like, I can't imagine doing that, but I'm not Norwegian. They probably do that shit all the time. I can't imagine doing that. Isdalen translates to Ice Valley, like I said. But at this point of the year, it wasn't really ice filled. It's more like mud covered. So I'm just like imagining this very eager dad dragging his girls up a muddy hill. Like, I can just picture this in my mind. The girls hating being there to begin with, dad having a great time. And then in the distance, they see something that stands out. A mysterious object was hidden behind a bunch of rocks just off the trail, but you could see it. And remember that this valley is also nicknamed Isdal, and it's not just me who says that. That's everyone. It got this nickname because many people go to this place to commit suicide. So the fact that dad's bringing his daughters to this Death Valley place in a muddy uphill fucking thing, I think this guy's crazy. I don't know.
Up until he stared it face to face, he was probably planning on fulfilling the place's namesake.
Yeah, well, maybe just bringing his kids. Wow.
Yeah, and then he was like, wow, actually, this would be terrible.
Probably. So I just think that he knew what he was found right away. And instead of just like turning the girls around, they went to go make sure, I guess. So
Damn.
Strange figure off the path. It was kind of human shaped, but frozen in a strange position. They walk towards it. When they get close, they realize they'd found a body. The dad knew. Why would he keep going? That's what I'm saying. Like, fuck, that's weird. So the woman's body was burned in the front, mostly around the head area. There was still hair, but her face was almost unrecognizable. She was burned like very bad. The body was laying in the rocks in the boxer's pose, kind of like this. But apparently that's super common when you are burned alive because your skin.
Yeah, you tighten up. It's pugilist pose or whatever they call it.
Yeah, boxer's pose. So you do like you're tight to your face, but not fully. Like she was kind of. There is pictures from a distance, so you can kind of see it's like she's kind of like Mr. Burns, like she's holding her hands like that.
Yeah, cooked her biceps.
Yeah, her arms, like I guess the tendons all get, I don't know, like beef jerky or some shit, and they get all tight. And, yeah, it's pretty fucking gross. And these little kids probably screamed. They turn around, run away. I bet you the girls were half happy they found a dead body, so they have to spend their fucking rest of their day climbing up a hill with their dumbass dad. They run back to Bergen. There's no phones, so they take an hour of probably dad dragging these two girls running or walking really fast. It took an hour and a half to get back.
I don't know, man. There's one suspicious thing about this family. There's a certain member missing that would fit the demographic of a certain body found. Doesn't really seem like a complete family.
I didn't even put that together, but that is fucking super funny. That's a great theory. That the Isdal woman was fucking the professor's wife, the professorette.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And the whole family went to get rid of her because maybe she was a fucking bitch.
The professorette was more like the pepperette after her arms were all burnt up. Am I right?
Right. Got him. Took that bitch down a peg, didn't you, Richard?
You stupid bitch. You stupid bitch. You got so hard, you dumb bitch.
Nobody deserved it more than a woman that's been dead for 55 years of unknown circumstances.
Yeah, fuck you. No, actually, I think this lady's probably a hero. I shouldn't say that. I'll tell you why at the end. So they get back to Bergen, report to police. Police go back up there, go to check out the scene, led by a guy named Detective Harold Osland. So when they get there, they start to investigate right away. Before they get to where the professor found the body, the first thing they notice is the strong smell of burnt flesh. So they knew it was going to be a good one. A good old-fashioned whodunit. Gross one. So the woman's laying on her back. Her front had been burned all over. Her back wasn't really burned at all. Scattered around her were a few strange items. There were half-melted bottles of water, a broken umbrella, a ring, a wristwatch, some rubber boots, and the remains of some nylon stockings, all of which she wasn't wearing and were placed beside her, like, nicely folded and perfectly kept, I guess. Some articles say that the objects were placed around her, looked like they were ritualistic in nature. But like I looked at the photos, you can't really tell if it's ritualistic or just like someone who took their shit off and put it there nicely. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't scream ritual to me. Maybe.
Mhm.
Only one place or a couple places said that, but only one actual like real like the BBC never said that once. You know what I mean? Like a real news art like some fucking like the Daily Beast or some shit might have said ritualistic in nature or some fucking stupid news source.
The Daily Beast was around in 1970.
Yeah, they rewrite shit about this kind of stuff. Isdal and 55 years later. Actually, they had a podcast in 2018 trying to figure out who it was, so they were around then. Anyways,
Just picturing like a ye old the Daily Beast type of font with like this like weirdly drawn oxen with like too much of a human face, kind of like in the medieval photos with animals.
Yeah, I know what you're
paintings.
talking about. When it's like
Yeah,
animal, it's like half. Yeah, cool.
yeah.
I got that image now too. I liked it. So
Thanks.
that ritualistic shit's probably nothing. The Isdal woman had been wearing other clothes, but the fronts of them were all burnt from in the fire. There were other things that were burnt around her, like papers of what looked like passports. They couldn't really tell because they were too burned up, but they think might have been some passport action. Really nothing at the scene for the investigators to identify. All they knew is what they saw there. Everything they found had like no logos or tags. All the tags were ripped out. You remember like Somerton Man, like that Australian dude they found on the
Mhm.
beach? Kind of like him. All of his logos and shit were ripped out of his tags. Same as this lady.
Interesting.
Her water bottles couldn't even be identified. It's not like water bottles now. They were like bought from like a army water bottle. Like you'd have to. In 1970, they didn't have like bottles of water like we would now. So, but those even had their logos like scraped off.
Was there an independent film crew around? Because that might explain some of the logo scraping.
Yeah, they're just like, we can't afford the trademarks.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe she was thinking ahead for like the news stations.
Oh,
They're gonna find me up here because I killed myself. She was 165 centimeters tall, 5'4", and she had long brownish black hair. She appeared to be 25 to 40 in age, which is like a huge age gap to me. It's like she was an adult woman.
yeah, yeah. You're just somewhere in the area of not a child.
Exactly. She had a small round face, which I find to be a weird detail because how do they know it wasn't just mostly burnt off and it was a chubby flat face or something? They don't know.
Yeah, she could have had a huge fucking face, but the flame shrunk it.
Exactly. The flame was meant for her entire body, but it only had enough fuel for her face.
Kind of like a goose's skin after it's been like basted and baked, all taut.
Oh my god. I'm having a weird visual day. Like I visualized that too. Jesus fucking Christ. Disgusting.
You hungry?
No. The autopsy revealed a lot about the death of this young lady. First of all, it revealed that she was alive when she was burned. They had soot in her lungs. That means she was breathing while she was on fire. The autopsy also showed that she'd never been pregnant or had a child. The autopsy showed she had an unexplained bruise on her right side of her neck. The coroner said it could have been from a fall or maybe even a blow. It could have been from either. There was no indication that the woman was ill in any way. And they found gasoline under her body, meaning that gasoline was used to burn her body. Investigators found a wig underneath her body when they moved her, and that's where most of the gas was like found in the actual hairs of the wig. The Isdal woman also had a high concentration of carbon monoxide in her blood, and they established that there were about 50 to 70 sleeping pills in her stomach that were not fully absorbed. Most of them were still full-blown pills. The sleeping pills were called Phenomol. Most of them, like I said, were still in tablet form. The sleeping pills and the carbon monoxide made the medical examiner call her death the result of suicide. 3 weeks of investigating, which I find crazy. She killed herself.
You don't know that.
I don't. But anyways, so she had gas near her body too. Like, what did she just douse herself in gas, take a bunch of sleep? One of these will work.
No, you clearly don't know how to party by yourself.
Fair enough.
You never had a lonely Death Valley gasoline and sleeping pill party?
No, unfortunately, and that sounds so fun. Why haven't I thought of doing that?
I don't know, dude. Maybe you're dumb.
That's probably it. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Bergen police chief went on the news and supported this claim after 3 weeks of investigation. Lots of people question this right off the bat just because of other evidence. The Isdal woman had very distinctive teeth. 14 of them were filled, and she had 10 gold crowns. 10 gold teeth.
Damn, bitch had a grill.
Yeah. In this day and age, that would be an easy person to find. If they had 10 gold teeth, we would know who that person is.
Yeah.
In the 70s, not so much. What they determined about the dental work is that it wasn't found typically in Norway or for someone her age. So after the autopsy, they decide they're going to keep some tissue samples, various parts of her body. They fingerprint her. They take her jaw because the crazy dental work.
They took her whole jaw?
Yeah.
Where'd they put it?
They put it in like some big investigative box from the Isdal woman.
Oh.
And then
It'd be funny if they just like put it in her ass. Like they're just like just playing with the dead bodies.
The gold teeth. The funny, well, it's not funny. I guess just interesting is that they lost the fucking jaw for years, and they refound it. Like, anyways, they refound it in like the 2010s.
In her ass?
In her ass. They dug her up. They think was her ass.
Did they lose her ass too?
Yes.
So okay, so it wasn't so much that they lost the jaw; they just lost the jaw by proxy because they lost her ass. So the jaw was in the ass.
The jaw was always in the ass. It's the ass and the jaw that went missing.
Gotcha.
I'm getting ahead of myself. Professor and the girls find the body. Police go investigate. They don't have many leads. So they appeal to the public for information about the mysterious woman because she had fucking 10 gold teeth. And they went on the news being like, we're looking for some lady who has 10 gold teeth. And they said she was found all burned up. We don't know who she is. 10 gold teeth. The news was like, wait, what? Someone got burnt and had 10 gold teeth? And it became a huge story almost instantly. Also because Bergen has a low crime rate. Even today, Norway has a crazy low crime rate. Probably 1 or 2 murders a year for a city that big, which is crazy. So a murder, especially like that, was an anomaly, and it was talked about throughout Norway. So Detective Oslin start to reach out internationally because of the dental work, because it's not found in Norway like that. Germany, France would have gold teeth like that. But yeah, just 3 days later, on October 2nd, the police get a lead from the public. An employee at the Bergen train station came to them, said they recognized the teeth, and just 5 days before she was found on November 23rd, the teeth dropped off 2 suitcases to be held at their storage desk. Police easily get to a search warrant and check out the suitcases. Inside, they find a bunch of weird ass shit, like a bunch of weird stuff. One of them had a prescription-free glasses, not sunglasses, just glasses. Those glasses had like a partial fingerprint that matched the mysterious dead woman, so that's good. That's her stuff. And they find clothes, several wigs, German, Norwegian, Belgian, and British and Swiss coins, a comb, a hairbrush, cosmetics, some teaspoons, a pack of matches from a popular lingerie store in Germany, an image of baby Jesus, a sewing kit from a Swiss hotel, a plastic bag from a store called Oscar Roosevelt footwear store, and a tube of eczema cream.
That's odd.
It's a lot of weird shit.
She probably could use some of that after the inflammation she experienced.
The eczema cream.
Yeah. But it's part of the gasoline and sleeping pill party. It's like you want some remedies to help you recover from the partying.
She gets to the kiosk and drops off her fucking suitcases to the lady. In 5 days' time, I want you to bring this eczema cream to Death Valley.
I'm gonna need it. I'm
gonna need you to apply this to my face.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna be able to use my hands because
I'm having a Death Valley fire sleeping pill party, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I'll be right there."
Got partying, dude. Just
inside the suitcase, there's also a notebook with handwriting codes filled with like shit that looked like gibberish at the time, like stuff like 022-028P, 029 PS-030B N5. Like just weird shit that reads like a code that no one could figure out at first. They figured out later. So Oslin finds these suitcases like, this is a matter of time now. We're going to figure out who this lady is. Didn't work out that way at all. All the clothes, like the items found near her body, had the tags ripped out. So those leads were none. DNA wasn't a thing yet. So you couldn't really just use her toothbrush or hairbrush or something, find somebody else. Maybe that she was eczema cream. All the labels were ripped off of that too. So you couldn't find the prescriber, the doctor, anybody for that.
I feel like more and more this bitch was like a government spy, but like a corporate spy.
Could be. She, I'll talk about it a little bit more later, but I'll tell you right now, she would.
It's like a particular sign you use. It's like maybe it thinks it's a gun and you're trying to kill yourself, so it's trying to do me the favor.
Do it off.
Of not
It's
having
trying to do it off
that.
camera so they don't have to cut the stream and make more money off me for 10 seconds.
Yeah, it was technology invented after Ronnie McNutt. As soon as you bring a gun to your mouth, the camera pans away.
McNutt proofing.
Yeah.
You're right, because when she signs into some of these hotels that we'll talk about in a bit, she signs in as like businesswoman, antique dealer. Like she'll say shit like that, which is interesting. If she's like corporate spy, that would be funny to like, not funny, but it would fall in line with that, I think.
Sure.
Just like, it's weird. Anyways, we'll talk about we'll get to that. The cops, she had makeup in there, so they're like, this makeup's got to be somewhere we can find this. It's makeup. It comes in a particular thing. We'll just go to makeup stores. Nowhere in Norway said they sold anything like it, so they couldn't identify that, which was weird. So then they move on to the last piece of evidence that they knew would help them out in some way, was the plastic bag from the footwear store, Oscar Rortsvelt's footwear store. So that was a shop they could find. It had a name. It's in Stavanger, which is another Norwegian town, 160 kilometers south. I guess that would be 100 miles south. And it's pretty far. So they go take it anyway. And they get there. They interview the owner's son, Rolf, which Rolf, underused name. It's only Muppets and this guy. Rolf, after a bit of questioning and descriptions of the Isdal woman, Rolf remembers selling a pair of rubber boots to a very well-dressed, nice-looking woman with dark hair. The boots he sold her looked like the same or close to the ones that they were found at the scene, all nicely placed around her. So now they got something here. The only reason Rolf says he even remembers this lady is because she made an impression, because she took so long to pick out the boots, way longer than any customer had ever taken ever. And he also says that he gives her a description of the lady. She's wearing a fur coat. She had a tan. And she said the lady smelled a lot like something he couldn't put his finger on. He called it spicy smelling. She smelled spicy. And then years later, when they interviewed this guy again, he changes it to like it was probably garlic, because garlic wasn't common in Stavanger in 1970 or even Norway. Like, so that's funny that he just called it spicy. But like, this brings up, was she a vampire hunter? Just saying it. I'm throwing it out there. Protecting yourself.
Or worse, Italian.
Oh, don't say that shit, dude. Italians can't own gold. That means they'd have to work hard for their money.
Well, she's clearly a criminal. But,
Yeah,
I mean, they all are. So
that's true. I just love that the smell is what made him remember her. The smell of garlic. That's amazing.
Garlic is also like vaguely what BO smells like. So she could have just stunk.
There's a very large possibility of that too. Using this description, Detective Oslin and his team were able to trace the woman to the St. Svithin Hotel nearby. The Isdal woman checked in with the name Fenella Lorch, which is good. They found her. Fenella Lorch. It's her. We got it. We solved it. They look up Fenella Lorch, not a person that actually exists.
That's crazy. They had to look that up.
It's Norway. They all have fucking funky names.
Yeah, but it sounds like a name that you'd make up if you were going to Norway and someone had a gun to your head and said, make up a Norwegian name.
Fenella Lorch.
Yeah.
So yeah, she didn't exist. Fenella stayed at the hotel from December 9th to December 18th. After looking at the hotel records, they start to cross-reference the name Fenella Lorch at hotels across Norway. And most hotels in the 70s in Europe, you'd had to sign in using your passport. So by the cross-reference, it emerges that the woman stayed in several hotels in Norway using many different aliases. they figure this out by comparing the Isdal woman's unique handwriting at different hotels. Her F's and her T's were all very crazy. Like she would, like her capital F for Fenella or whatever, she'd like make the F go all the way across Fenella, the whole name, when she's signing things. And her T's would be the same thing. Her tops of her T's would go all the way to the end of a word, which was really weird, but it kind of helped them figure out that in France, they kind of wrote like that. They taught their kids how to write like that, which I found was like an interesting thing because every country would teach handwriting a little differently or different area. So like someone's handwriting narrowed down where you might be from, which is interesting to me. Where you grew up anyway, where you kind of like learned your writing, or at least your parents learned that way.
And then if they couldn't write at all, then they were because they were from South Carolina
or Italy.
Or Italy, yep.
You fucking Italian North Carolinians. Those are the worst ones. South Carolina, sorry.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Fucking definitely red hat wearing. All right. It's weird that she's signing in hotels with multiple passports. She would have to have like at least 9. She had fucking, I think, 9 different aliases and stayed in at least that many hotels across Europe. Some of the signing records she claimed to be German. Some she was Belgian. She put her occupation as traitor or
occupation traitor, treasonous monster.
Yeah, she put TRAI. Shit,
Yeah.
wrong one. Sometimes the reason for her stay would be vacation, and other towns would be on business. On other towns would be selling antiques. Just vague reasons for being in town. Never really the same. So Detective Roslin and his team spoke to many of the hotel staff members that had interactions, with this mysterious woman. They learned that she was speaking all sorts of different languages, including French, English, Norwegian, and German. They say that she had a confidence about herself and she dressed as if she had a lot of money, but she was also very serious. One of the waitresses that served her at the hotel in Bergen said that she had style and wanted to mimic her style. All of these bits of evidence, the different names, the weird code book, the multiple languages spoken, the wigs, the missing tags, started speculation that this woman was a spy, which is one of the theories, but that was what was talked about within a week of this lady being found dead. Bergen didn't have many foreign tourists in the 70s, and for this lady to have at least 9 different passports made everyone shocked by the whole thing. The Cold War was in full effect at the time. Norway's borders with Russia. So maybe there's some sort of fucking Russian spy or American spy just roaming around Norway at the time. A lot of theories going around from the general public. So the authorities say this code book must be something. Let's get our code breakers from our spy service to figure it out. And the guy figured it out within an hour of what it was. It was a detailed list of where she spent time and how long she spent there. So it was full of numbers and letters like 022, 028P, which referenced that she from October 22nd to October 28th, she was in Paris. Or 029 PS, they determined the October 29 Paris to Stavanger. It was just her writing down a list of places she was going to go or already went in shorthand. But this helped out the authorities kind of figure out where she was, or at least get an idea of where she was traveling at the time, just before she died. Does bring them to more hotels. They do ask a bunch of questions, but in 3 weeks, the police chief shuts down the case, says the secret police have said to don't worry about this. We're going to go put a Cryptos is what the secret police is called in Norway, like their CIA, which is really a good name. And basically their CIA or FBI or whatever tells them, shut her down, we're good. And they go on the air saying that it was a suicide, which is pretty crazy to me. Are you still there, RJ? Because you look frozen. He is frozen. You're still there.
Oh, yes. Yeah, sorry.
No, you froze.
Yeah, no, I had a huge dropout.
Okay, good. I was like, I don't know where I stopped, but it's fine.
It was right around the definition of the secret police.
Of what their name was, Cryptos. Yeah, they're just basically CIA, FBI, but they shut her down. They told them to shut down their investigation. That's what some of the investigators said later on, that they
shut down by the crypto bros.
Yeah. So the case, with it being closed, there's no more leads. It gets closed. The women's buried in February 1971, which is like 3 months later. The Norwegian authorities organized her a Catholic funeral. 18 people attended the funeral, all of them police officers. The coffin was decorated with lilacs and tulips, and the priest conducted a simple ceremony for the unknown woman. She was buried in a zinc coffin so it wouldn't decompose, and if they ever had to go back, they could dig up her body. Police also kept an album of photos from her funeral for her relatives, just in case they ever pop up somewhere, which I found was a weird, creepy detail.
Just thought you might like this.
Who's that guy? Oh, he's the one who found her.
Yeah.
He's the professor. Who's the little girl's crying?
Yeah. That's another cop.
That's
the Catholic priest who presided over your Jewish daughter's funeral.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna get to that, but I think she might be Jewish.
Really?
So, yeah. In 2018, the NRK and the BBC.
Because Richard, is it because she's sneaky? Because you're not supposed to say that.
It's because she kept her gold in her mouth.
Wow. Okay, so
actually, it is because of that.
This is your Nazi blood speaking.
It is actually because of that, though, in a way, because since she's like 4, we'll talk about it later. But yes, the people that were threatened by Nazis would boil down all their fucking gold and shit and hide it in their mouth. So it's a reason people think she may have been like a little kid during fucking concentration camp, and her dad was like, "Hide the gold in your mouth, little girl," or teenager.
Maybe she had shitty teeth. Damn.
It could be, but it's part of it. Part of the reason is the teeth. And we'll talk about why, because it sounds you're gonna like this theory the most. It's my favorite one. So
I don't like anti-Semitism.
It's not it's positive Semitism. What's the pro-Semitism? Just Semitism?
Yeah.
Okay, it's Semitism then. So in 2018, the NRK, which is like the public broadcasting of like Norway, and the BBC make a podcast about this case and follow up on some leads that weren't previously followed up on. I love this podcast, and I love both the hosts. Merritt Highgraf from the NRK and Neil McCarthy from the BBC were both great in the series. It's called Death in Ice Valley. Nothing too crazy comes from it, but the two reporters do end up doing some modern day testing on some evidence. Isotope testing, like you can tell where someone grew up by testing the teeth with isotopes, because what you ate as a child, your teeth were forming, it'll like get embedded into your teeth, which is crazy to me.
She's eating gold?
No, she had other teeth. There was only 10. She had all the other ones still there.
That's still a third.
It's for sure. But it can give you a more accurate age, apparently. And they say she was actually 45 plus or minus 4 years, which is crazy that they thought she was 25 to 40 at the time, and she's even older than that. And she'd been signing into hotels saying that she was 30. So from this test, it was also determined that she probably came from Nuremberg, Germany, and moved to France as a young adult. And this would make sense if she was in her 40s, because that would make her born in 1930, maybe a little earlier. And she could have been Jewish. And when Hitler started running amok for the Jews in the 30s, their parents were like getting rid of kids and sending them to orphanages in France to save them from Germany at the time. This is a thing that was happening all sorts of places around Germany at the time. So they're saying that she was probably sent off, hidden in a nunnery to get away from Hitler in the 30s.
I don't know about getting away from him, but is it possible she was a Nazi?
Maybe it's the opposite of what I think. I think she was a Jew killing Nazis. That's what I think was happening.
That would be cool, but she might have just been a getting out of Germany. Yes, people did that in the 30s, but a lot of people did that in the 40s too, and it was for different reasons.
I don't know, because you make your decision. I have the opposite. I think she was Mossad.
I'm not making a decision. I'm just saying that I don't think it's
opinions, not decisions. Opinion. You have your opinion after.
I think it's fair to think about in both ways.
For sure. When I give you more info, it'll probably be less. You'll probably think more. Let's just talk about theories, and we'll get rid of some dumb ones. Like the original theory, she unalived herself. Yep, cops got it right. She killed herself. Evidenced by the CO2 in her lungs and the sleeping pills in her stomach, the undigested sleeping pills in her stomach. The cop said, so it's got to be true. That's what I think. There's a lot of problems with this theory, though. Like, when some of the investigators were interviewed decades later, they claimed like they said the secret police got involved and told them to shut it down, and they're told by their superiors to let it go. So that's just right there. Just I don't think she tried to kill herself. There's a guy that's a spy they talked to that used to work for the whatever the spy agency is called in Norway, and he says that like yeah, she was totally it was a suicide for sure. What we think is she had hairspray on her and she was spraying her hair out in the middle of the ice valley, and for some reason it caught fire and exploded in her face. It happens all the time. This is what one of the ex-spy guys were saying, and I was like, wow.
Yeah, dude. It happens all the time because if it's one thing that Norwegian spies love, it's hairspray.
Exactly.
He knew from experience. It was all of his training.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So was she a spy? There's lots of evidence that says spy here. Do you think you hear multiple passports? Scream spy to me. Multiple passports actually it screamed spy to me at first, and then I started thinking about him like if you're a spy, you'd want like one alias, not like 20. Like it would be harder to just keep up with that. You just have one like different alias. I'm fucking Vanilla Lorch from New York City, and like you just have a backstory that'd be easier to remember. Having 9 would be weird. I just don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, they would catch up with you. Like that's the whole point of having like burner identities.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess you're true because then you can like. But I mean, over the course of like 3 or 4 months, where she's staying in hotels for a week at a time, why wouldn't you just that one name, Vanilla Lorch, the whole time? No one's gonna catch you that way. Like, maybe I don't know. It's just weird.
Yeah.
Not to say,
I mean, you're right. Either way, if she was a spy, she was unsuccessful because she died. So
yeah.
someone probably figured it out sooner.
There was people saying that maybe she wasn't a full blown spy. Maybe she was just like the courier for a spy. Like she would go to the town where the spy was, get their information, and bring it back. So it's not like there was internet or cell phones or anything. So they'd have a person like running info back and forth
Yeah,
between.
but at what point are you like no longer a spy? Like, is there like, you know what I mean? Because if
Yeah,
you're using different names and sneaking around and stuff, like that's still spy shit. Like
it's true. It's true. They're just calling it a courier, not
they're just trying,
which is the
just
same.
trying
It's just
to
a different kind of spy, like a trainee spy.
just trying to tear down and just want yet another strong Nazi woman, strong independent Nazi woman being denied her dues in this world.
All right, there's more evidence that she's a spy. The wigs and the clothes and the missing tags on those clothes and the rubbed off labels on nearly everything. The living in hotels for weeks at a time. Uh, like how you
I can't get over the labels thing. Why does that matter? Like,
because you can't figure out where they're from. Because clothes would have been very specifically from areas back then. It wouldn't have been mass produced like it is now.
yeah, fair enough.
Like you wouldn't be getting like made in China clothes in fucking Italy. You'd be getting Italian clothes. That'd be it. And if you went places, you could track where you got the clothes. Like people would be making like that to me is not super weird, but it is weird. Who takes the time to rip out all the fucking tags of a clothes too? Anyways, the affording of living in hotels for weeks at a time seems like you have to have some sort of money backing that. Like that can't be cheap.
Yeah.
Cold War's happening. Norway's proximity to Russia, the death of her so close to Russia during Cold War means she could have been a spy. Like Norway is allied with America. Bergen is really near Russia. Like in the 70s, Norway was testing some new missiles called Penguin missiles. They were homing missiles, something quite normal today, but in the 70s was cutting edge. There are witnesses that claim to have seen the Isdal woman talking with some military men. Maybe she was learning about the penguins and sending the info back to Russia. Maybe she was a Russian spy, or maybe she was an American spy. Maybe it could have went either way.
So they shot a penguin at her?
Yeah, the frozen ice lady. Yeah, so if she's a spy working for Norway, maybe that's why they shut it down as fast as possible. Close with a suicide. I don't know. The Death of Ice Valley podcast, they interview some old school spy. Oh, I told the suicide theory thing. I told you about that. The fact that the pills didn't even get absorbed into their system is a weird indicator that she didn't have commit suicide. But yeah, Kryptos, the secret police I was telling you about, they denied ever looking into the case until 2002 when they finally cracked and said, "Yeah, we looked into it." So like it took them 30 some odd years to say, yeah, we were actually like we thought maybe she might be a spy. And then the reporters from Death in Ice Valley got to look at the secret police file, and it looked like they barely looked into her case at all from the file they got. So I don't know. This is where they find about the meeting with the military man from that file, and that was all they found about the Penguin missile stuff. Nothing. That's all they found, though, was that they kind of investigated her because she talked to that, and then it didn't amount to anything. So that was the end of it. She wasn't a spy; it was a suicide. Yeah, I don't think the Norwegian secret police would hide anything 32 years later, but who the fuck knows? Like, I don't think they were just like keeping half the file away from them. Like, I don't think they would care that much at this point. Maybe they did. You could always just go like, it wasn't us. But some speculation says that she was a spy working for the Mossad. And this is from the path from the isotope thing that many people followed that path into the Mossad, apparently, where they would be Jewish kids sent to a little fucking place
Saying she's
elsewhere.
from Israel because she ate gold. Come on, dude. Like, I know it's not like cool to be like friends with that government right now, but anti-Semitism's the wrong answer.
They're saying that people used to hide their money in their mouth. That's all they're saying. And since she was a kid and because of her teeth, the way they did the isotope testing, that she moved to France during the war, like just before the wartime. And it would have been a perfect person to like, if she was a Jewish person, her parents died in the war, let's say, you'd be a good person to convert into their cause of Nazi hunting in the 70s around Europe. And they do know that the Mossad agents were in Norway in the 70s because I looked up Mossad Norway, the 1970s. In 1973, four Mossad agents killed some guy in Lillehammer because they thought he was a different person. They killed the wrong guy. They killed a non spy. They were there to kill a fucking spy, and they killed the wrong guy. And they got caught by the police, and they're like, "Yeah, we're Mossad. It was an accident. Whoopsie." So they know they had Mossad.
They planted a rock in his hand.
What does that mean?
Oh, because Palestinians throw rocks and then
Oh,
they throw missiles. Yeah.
I got you. They say she would have, if she was a Jewish person, her parents, like, she would have been easy conversion. And that's only judging by, like, the fact her isotope testing showed she could have been in different parts of Europe during World War II, and she had potentially hiding her wealth in her mouth, which is a stretch, but that's what I want it to be. I want it to be some lady traveling around Europe, killing fucking Nazi escapees, like Nazis on the run for the Mossad. I think that's my favorite. I want that to be true. I want her to be a Nazi killer. And I know it's very weak evidence, but it's still fun. And all I want is a little bit of fun, RJ.
I don't think it's weak evidence. I think it's just as strong as everything else.
For sure. The last theory, which might be true, or it's two more theories, sorry. The one you already kind of touched on, where she was maybe working for some sort of like mob or something, just like drug trafficking, which makes a lot of sense too. A mob idea of a good idea would be like, let's have 25 different identifications for you, and you sign up at every 7 days you move hotels.
Hmm.
And she was seen like at bars hanging out with guys but not talking, like at the hotel bar. There would be guys there just kind of looking mad. They'd be reading the paper and she'd just be sitting there looking serious. So maybe it was like some sort of weird drug deal going on or something like that. But then the last theory, which this one might be true, and it's kind of sad that it might be true, is that she was a sex worker. She
Most
was,
realistic of the options.
yeah, and it's very sad to think that everyone made this big mythology about her when in reality she had a very sad life. Just checking into hotels, traveling to Europe, trying to like make a good life for herself, but that can't be good. That can't be a good life if you lost that many teeth and like you know what I mean. Like I'm sure bad things were happening to you, and you're 45
Maybe,
at this point.
well, maybe she just decided to start doing it at 44 because she wanted a mouthful of gold teeth. She's like, you know what? I'm gonna live life on my terms now. Ever since the working at SS, I've never felt free.
Oh my god, you've turned this Nazi killing lady that I want her to be so badly into a Nazi herself. You did it again, RJ. I like it.
I,
Just Everybody's a Nazi to you fucking liberals, huh?
Just the Nazis. But
Speaking of Nazi, I do enjoy how mad Erica Kirk is about Drewski fucking with her in a skit. I do enjoy that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
let's end on that. Fuck Erica Kirk and good job, Drewski.
Yay.
Unless there's anything else you want to add to that, Isdal woman. But it's really just sad.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Kind of.
Maybe here's the nice part though. Maybe one of the victims of the Holocaust got her. That's what it was. Like she kept running, and then finally they had their vengeance.
And the Jewish police chief of Bergen covered it up for his aunt who was a Holocaust.
Yeah,
okay.
dude.
Okay, maybe she got her comeuppance.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that story too. Burning a Nazi's face off in the middle of the Death Valley is a great way to kill a Nazi.
Yeah, she tried to kill herself because of pink pills, and then they were like, "Nah, bitch, hairspray flamethrower,"
and then ended.
Yeah.
If they had to walk like an hour out into the bush doing that's amazing. She
They've
took
been
the
tracking
pills.
her.
If you eat one more of those pills, I swear to God, I'm killing you with this flamethrower. Just keep walking, bitch. She's at like 65. If you get to 70, I swear to God, I'm killing you in Death Valley. I'm not doing it now. Get up, bitch. I know you're getting sleepy, but move.
Come on, goose step it.
You're probably feeling the effects of those sleeping pills now, but I don't want you to die that way. Let's go. All right. Well, thanks, RJ. I think that the solve here is you want her to be a villain or a hero.
I don't know about want. I'm just reading the cards as they're dealt, pal.
You want her to be a villain.
No, man. I think you don't want her to be a villain because you're biased towards Nazis.
I want her to be a Nazi killer. What are you talking about?
No. You want to glorify her because she was a Nazi.
I want to glorify. You're glorifying her because she was a Nazi.
Like, that
she survived those the 70s.
That was your grandpa's sister. That's who it was. That's why. I'm trying to vindicate her retroactively, and it's fucking pathetic.
Don't talk about I don't even know what Aunt
Frida.
Fenella. Auntie Fenella like that. Richard Lorch Stoodle. Okay, well, so are we agreeing to disagree? You're saying she was a Nazi. I'm saying she was a Nazi killer.
I don't think we're agreeing to disagree. I think you're just agreeing to be wrong.
Okay, I'll agree to be wrong. You can agree to be wrong too.
No, I'm not. I'm right. That's the thing.
But
but if you're disagreeing with me and you're agreeing to be wrong because you disagree with me, that means I must be right.
Huh. Weird logic. I don't think that works that way, but
I think that's pretty foolproof. Well,
okay.
Obviously not because you don't understand it, but that's because you're a fool.
But it's supposed to be proof of me.
Yeah, that's why you just can't crack it because of your foolish, feeble mind.
Okay.
I just watched Private Dicks and I think RJ's the funniest.
What? Come on.